Instead, we get Sam Wilson. He's literally the hero of the black people. He's not a normal dude who just becomes Captain America after Steve. Instead, he's like the black Captain America. When he comes on screen, hip-hop starts playing.
So before this video starts, I do want to give a shout to the Discord server. Join if you want to, suggest new video ideas, or just come hang out and chat with us. And if you like what you see here today, you'll like pretty much all of my other content, so why not subscribe? Thanks. Alright, so the new Captain America movie finally came out and I actually got to see it. No, I didn't go to the movie theaters to see it, but I know a lot of other people in the Discord server were going to, and so I tried to hold off this video until they saw it. But I was sent this video by a member of our Discord server, Bumblebee, and you know, at first I didn't really know if I was going to make a third part to this whole series or if this was going to be a series at all. However, Ranting for Vengeance here and a bunch of other YouTubers have seen the movie and have just shot all over it, and in my opinion, I don't think it should be as hated as it is. In my opinion, the movie's very overhated, and ever since the movie came out, I've only ever seen a couple of different videos that actually hit the nail on the head when it comes to the critiques of the movie itself. So I guess you could think of this as one part response video, one part my review on Captain America Brave New World.
Captain America Brave New World. And I think I can speak on behalf of most people when I say that it was absolute garbage. Really, the film doesn't even anger me. It's just hilarious to see something so woke fail so horribly. This dumpster fire is just a milestone in how bad Marvel movies can actually get. So the worst part about the brand new Captain America that doesn't even star Captain America is the fact that the entire film, because they know that nobody really likes Sam Wilson, they know that they can't make us like him, so instead they spend the entire film trying to make Steve Rogers look bad. And you might be asking yourself, what do you mean by that? Well, there's many examples throughout the movie where they're literally just sticking up their middle finger to Steve Rogers, the real Captain America. Now,
I don't exactly know what he means when he says that they were spending the entire movie just sticking up the middle finger to Steve Rogers, and at the end of this video you probably still won't know either because he doesn't really explain it well. I'm gonna say this for the first time of maybe 3 times this video, so just get ready. Sam Wilson is clearly not supposed to be Steve Rogers, okay? They are different people. And I think a lot of people where they go wrong in their assessment of this film, and they go into it expecting that, oh, this is going to be exactly like Captain America, or they have some preconceived notion that stems from Steve Rogers when this is a completely different person. And what really boggles my mind is that the people who are mad about the race aspect of this and who don't care that this was a thing in the comics, or don't even care that Steve himself at times doesn't think that he should be holding the shield because of his parentage, which by the way, he's the son of Irish immigrants, which is the reason why he thinks that. They forget what being Captain America truly means. It's to give freedom and liberty to all. So when people make this whole, oh, he's not really Captain America because he's black argument, it just seems so stupid.
Now I will say that I did miss the first 10 minutes of this movie because I came in late to the theater, which doesn't really matter, because it's not like I was missing the best movie of all time. Instead, I came in on the scene that highlighted everything wrong with it. I walked into the movie theater, sat down, and the first scene I was greeted with was Sam Wilson saving all these hostages in a church. I don't know where it was set. Basically, none of the hostages were white, and none of them could speak English. So they were sitting there speaking Spanish or some foreign language, and Sam Wilson flies in and knows the language perfectly. So immediately I was shaking my head. You're basically making a point showing us how culturally diverse Sam Wilson is and how Steve Rogers would never do that. Steve Rogers would never jump down, save some Spanish people, and then start speaking muchos gracias, amigo, because he was some evil white man. Well, I thought that was bad, but it actually continues, because about 20 minutes later in the film, Sam Wilson shows up at the White House, and he meets some Japanese president guy, and immediately starts speaking perfect Japanese. What is the point of this? It's to show us how culturally aware this Captain America is.
Brother, what is this take? Firstly, and this is my opinion on this film, I really enjoyed the fight scenes, okay? The fight scenes in the movie were pretty cool to me, especially because obviously you don't get to see Captain America always flying around, or flying around at all, really. And that's just another aspect of Sam Wilson that makes him so different than Captain America. But I mean, what a way to start out a sentence. I don't know where this scene took place, but the hostages weren't white, and they started speaking that good old amigo language, so Captain America swoops in and starts speaking it right with them. I really don't know what's his, like, point in this. It really doesn't make any sense. Steve Rogers also spoke multiple languages languages in the movies. You act like he wasn't speaking French in The Winter Soldier. And once again, he's Captain America, right? So should he not know the second most spoken language in America? Stuff like Spanish is pretty commonplace over here. I know you don't live over here, so you probably wouldn't understand that, but it's one Google search away, my guy. You could have just done that. And now to the Japanese part, he's making it sound worse than what it actually was. If you guys don't care about spoilers, then I'll just say right here, Captain America and the president of Japan have like 2 interactions in the whole film. Maybe even just one, and he's only greeting the president in Japanese. It would be the same thing as you saying, "Hola, ¿cómo estás?" Like, my guy, are you really gonna try to crucify him over a simple greeting? And once again, stuff like that isn't to show that, hey, this Captain America is so much better than the old one, so it's a big F you. No, it's not like that at all. Honestly, I don't even know how you could come away from this movie thinking something like that unless you were trying to. Here's another thing too. Maybe the reason why he's speaking so many other languages other than English, albeit they're very brief, is because he's a trained SHIELD operative. You act like international government agents don't speak multiple languages.
There's a scene in the movie where Falcon, because he's not Captain America, Sam Wilson will never be Captain America, so Falcon meets up with Bucky, and they're having this heart-to-heart conversation about how hard it is to be Captain America. And Bucky tries to tell Sam that, no, you're not Steve and you're not this person, but you're your own person. You're something different. You can do more than the original Captain America. How? Can somebody explain to me how? I'm pretty sure he doesn't even have the super serum, so he's not as powerful or well trained or as strong, yet somehow he can do more than the original Captain America. And this is the problem with comics versus movies. In comics, you can have Captain America, a character that can be around for literally 40 years in comics as Steve Rogers. And then after those 40 years of stories and adventures showing you how the character is a patriot, then you can switch to, I don't know, Sam Wilson or Bucky Barnes. Instead, we got like 4 or 5 movies with Captain America, and then he gets killed off, and we bring in a new guy. There's no sense of scale. When you look at the comics, characters like Spider-Man and Cap and Batman and Superman are around for like 50 years straight without stopping and without being killed off or switched because movie productions get bored and lazy. It doesn't even make sense. Bucky is way stronger than Sam, and I'm pretty sure, I might be wrong in this, but in the comics, doesn't Bucky Barnes take up the mantle of Captain America? So that would actually make sense. Instead, we get Sam Wilson. He's literally the hero of the black people. He's not a normal dude who just becomes Captain America after Steve. Instead, he's like the black Captain America. When he comes on screen, hip-hop starts playing. One of the first scenes in the movie is when he goes to Baltimore to meet up with this old super soldier black dude who he calls OG, which is cringe. I don't want to hear black slang in my Marvel movies. And the very first shot of the city, we get blasted with hip-hop music, literally telling us, showing it in your face, look how black we are. Speaking of which, I'm not going to give you a spoiler warning, so I might as well just tell you. This old black guy that Sam is friends with, this old super soldier, his mind gets hijacked and he tries to do something really bad to the president, Harrison Ford by the way, who is phoning in the worst performance of his life. The entire film is Falcon running around, trying to prove his friend's innocence, when in real time, he actually pulled out a firearm and tried to do something really bad. It doesn't matter if your mind was hijacked or anything. You should be in prison. At the end of the movie, when Sam, of course, proves his innocence, the dude gets pardoned and just walks out like nothing happens with a big smug face. Dude, you literally tried to off the president. Am I supposed to feel bad?
So wow, a lot of stuff to unpack there. But firstly, I want to talk about the whole sense of scale thing. Firstly, in the MCU, Captain America's story takes place over almost 100 years, starting from when he becomes Captain America to when he dies in Endgame. And partway through that journey, he meets Falcon, and they were partners ever since. Like, I don't know if you forgot this or if you've seen a MCU movie in a while, but this guy was Falcon for a while before he even got the shield. And from that point on, we see him get a bunch of new upgrades, different suits and whatnot. And then they ended off Captain America's story by paying homage to the time where Captain America actually gave Sam Wilson the shield in the comics. And I'm pretty sure that was from the 2012 run of Captain America. But yeah, he lost his super soldier serum and he began to age rapidly. Something that actually makes Captain America realize, like, hey, Sam is 100% worthy of passing on the mantle. Is when Arnim Zola invades, plants a bomb, and then Sam flies in and flies it into the atmosphere, and it almost kills him. something that Steve would 100% do both in the MCU and in the comic. Here's another thing too, the fact that you didn't know for sure whether or not Bucky had become Captain America at one point or Sam had become Captain America in the comics shows me and the audience that you didn't do your research before making this video. You just got on here and started yapping. And it's something that makes your review of Captain America Brave New World less credible because you don't even know what's happening through half the film. You just know that he's black and you don't like it. Throughout this whole video, you don't even touch on the fact that something that's wrong with the movie is that it expects you to have watched or have remembered what was going on in The Incredible Hulk from 2008 because it makes a lot of references to that film. And to some degree, it also requires you to have watched Falcon and the Winter Soldier, which I remember watching it when it came out. It was pretty good. But it almost feels like if you hadn't watched those two things, you wouldn't really know what was going on in the movie. You wouldn't understand the callbacks. You wouldn't understand who the leader was and that they bought him back from the Incredible Hulk. And I could imagine that some people were even confused as to how well Sam was actually wielding the shield. And it probably meant less to them when they saw that because they didn't see his growth and his struggles that he went through in the Disney Plus series. But instead of focusing on those points, you just focused on race. And for what?
You know, guys, this Captain America actually isn't Captain America, so I'm not gonna call him that, even though his name is on the movie. And why is that, you might ask? Because he's black.
This movie went through a bunch of reshoots, and it's very telling from the feeling that you get after you have watched the movie. And it's that Sam didn't really do a good job at proving that he was Captain America. And I say that because this film suffers from a lot of other stuff that's going on at the same time. Like, this is his debut Captain America film, and it didn't really feel like it was Sam's film. It felt like it was more Red Hulk's film than anything. But then at the same time, you also have this leader subplot. And honestly, for the leader's debut in the MCU, I feel like they could have done him better. Bro looks butt ugly in this movie. My God, I would have liked a little bit more comic accuracy in this setting because, I mean, it's either this or that because like, you know what I'm saying? You tell me which was better. I do feel like this movie could have done better for sure in a lot of areas, but I also still feel like it's overhated. One of the strong points of the movie were the fight scenes. And I feel like the choreography of those fight scenes, not only just on the ground, I'm talking about in the air, are where Marvel really shine, or at least in the post-Endgame era of movies. And another thing about the hip-hop music that he was complaining about and all this other stuff, him talking about OG. Yeah, so once again, like I said before, this is a different character, all right? He has the same mantle as Captain America, but he's not Steve Rogers. He has a different background, okay? And also, I don't even remember there being hip-hop music playing whenever Sam was speaking or whenever there was a new scene with Sam in it. I get that that might have been an over-exaggeration to, I guess, convey his point or whatever, but it's such a non-factor in the movie that I'm pretty sure most people didn't notice it. Also, are we just gonna act like Isaiah Bradley wasn't facing the death penalty for what he was doing? Like, let's not act like he didn't just get a slap on the wrist. This guy was in jail. He was afraid of going back to prison because, well, if you watch the Captain America Disney Plus show, you'd know that he's a secret super soldier that has been held in captivity for a very long time, for most of his life. And he has a fear of going back to prison because he thinks that the government is just going to forget about him again. That's why he had that look of desperation and worry on his face when he was being arrested. He kept telling Sam that he didn't want to go back. He couldn't go back. And then it got even worse when he was placed into solitary confinement after the leader took control of the security guard and made him kill the other people who were also responsible for the assassination attempt. I get that you might not have liked the movie or that you might have thought it was boring. Maybe it made you go to sleep or whatever. But if it did make you go to sleep and you just hopped on the mic and started yapping about it, I don't understand why you did something like that. You just look kind of stupid right now because as much as you shit on this film, everyone else can shit on your points just as easy. And why is that? Is because you didn't pay attention. Don't try to make a video about something that you don't know anything about. It's crazy that this guy has the nerve to call somebody all sorts of retards and stuff, but he's sitting on the mic just doing stuff like this? That's absurd.
It's me to one of my biggest issues with the film. This film is almost a carbon copy of Captain America, the Winter Soldier. A far more superior film. Now, I've always had my problems with the MCU. Like The Winter Soldier, although it is an amazing film, still had Samuel Jackson, not doing a bad performance or anything as Nick Fury, but he's not really Nick Fury.
Let me guess, it's because he's black?
Because he is black.
Bro, you can't make this stuff up. It's absurd. Nick Fury is also black in the comics, man. And yes, I know that Nick Fury originally wasn't black, and they changed him in the comics to fit more in line with the movies. I understand that. But it really does seem like the only thing this guy even cares about is race. Like, bro, deadass just said, in spite of the performance, even though he was amazing, he's black, so he's not really Nick Fury. Anybody who's actually like a normal human being and doesn't really care about all this stuff. Rather, they just want good writing and good stories, all have valid criticisms, not only about the movie, but maybe even just about Nick Fury. And they just leave it at that. But all these other nerds out here that want to worry about race and how people look, or how the new Batman looks like a goth trans femme or whatever, are all just corners of this comic book community that don't really have a place in it. Like, this guy's just trying to be a voice for the racist in the community, but he fails to realize that people just watch his stuff to dunk on it. It's not like somebody's actually like, oh yeah, I totally agree with this. This should totally get more attention. Now, another complaint that I do hear a lot about this movie is that the woman agent in the movie, her scenes where she does take down a bunch of bad guys, doesn't really seem that believable because she's not big enough or tall enough or whatever. I mean, so to that extent, I do agree. It doesn't really seem, I guess, that believable, but at the same time, it's just like, for me, it was no different when Black Widow did the shit. You know, it's the same thing, really, because I remember a time where Black Widow did that stuff in Iron Man, and people were like, oh, what? A woman could never do something like that. She could never take out big guys like that. But then as she started to, you know, get more popular in the MCU, and as the MCU started to go along, she started to do it more, that sort of notion quieted down a lot. So to be completely honest, I see it the exact same way. Like, yeah, it doesn't seem believable at first, but I mean, the more she does it, you know, it's like, whatever, right? She's clearly another highly trained operative, so it would make sense. A lot of guys don't believe that a woman, even if it's a highly trained woman, would be able to take them down. So I'll just address this really quick. Yeah, a regular woman wouldn't be able to take you down. You're a regular guy, you don't have that much training at all, if any, but a highly trained woman would be able to take you down just as easily as that woman did in the movie. And for the people who are disagreeing with that, let's be honest, bro, you're out of shape. You have a beer belly and you barely go to the gym. And even if you were in peak condition, you still aren't him. So who are we really fooling here?
Look at Anthony Mackie's antics in real life. The dude is a nut job who needs to keep his mouth shut. All you have to do is look at any news story regarding Anthony Mackie and you'll see his derangement.
For me, Captain America represents a lot of different things, and I don't think the term, you know, America should be one of those representations.
Let me just stop you right there, you ignorant retard. So Captain America doesn't represent anything got to do with America. What? He says he doesn't think that America should be one of the representations of the character. You don't get to think. You don't get to come up with some interpretation of Captain America. It's in the goddamn name, Captain America. Not Captain, hey, I'm from the hood and I want to complain about how black people are treated. No, Captain America. The white man. Steve Rogers, the American. So although this clip is idiotic and he doesn't have a clue what he's talking about because he's an absolute moron, I find this one to be 10 times worse.
He had to drop out of school in 8th grade to pick cotton with my grandfather. And I'm Captain America.
So once again, this does prove that Anthony Mackie is retarded, but everybody in the crowd is more retarded for clapping and cheering because he brought up picking cotton. What are you even trying to say? So your father had to drop out of school and pick cotton, and now I'm Captain America.
And once again, here's where you show you don't actually know what you're talking about. Let's go over the first clip, okay? Because I've seen this a bunch around Twitter, and ever since it came out, it's just been the downfall of Anthony Mackie, right? Now, in my opinion, I feel like he definitely could have done a better job at conveying his message, which was, for him, this movie is him getting back to a time in his childhood where he was able to live out his dreams. He makes the example of a knight trying to save a princess from a dragon, right? And then a teacher telling him that, oh, this isn't real, and then all his dreams are crushed. But this movie for him is getting back to that sort of thing and actually making that dream a reality. Now, the whole part about him feeling that Captain America, the term America, shouldn't be one of the aspects that applies to him in this movie. Like I said before, he definitely could have worded this one better, but I feel like he was trying to say that the term America just shouldn't be what Captain America means, and it should mean the other things that he was talking about right after he said that. And yeah, I agree. Captain America should stand for more than America, or whatever the hell you think America is. I don't know what the hell you think America is. You probably don't even live here, so I don't know why you have a say on it, really. But this second clip really starts to expose your ignorance, okay? And I wouldn't expect you to understand this. I mean, really, if you just did some research at all, you would understand what Anthony Mackie is trying to say, even if you just watched the entire clip and didn't cut it out of context. The full clip is him talking about how much it means for him having to hear about his dad having to go out from school and help his granddad pick cotton, coming from a background which you wouldn't think that Captain America would even have anything to do with. And now he's actually Captain America. And now you can see at the bottom that, it has a little tag, Morehouse College. Morehouse College is a historically black university. Anthony Mackie in that very clip said that his brother went there, and some of his closest friends were friends with his brother, and they went there, and there were people that they all went to school with. They were Morehouse men, just like the people in that crowd. And he said that it really hit different for him because of his background and where he comes from. So the point completely flew over your head, as it usually does. And the funny part is that he thinks that he's actually doing something when he brings up these clips, not understanding what the meaning of it is. And now, of course, about the first clip, I could definitely be wrong in my interpretation. But at the very least, I sat down with you guys and brainstormed it out. And that's doing a whole heck of a lot more than anyone who ever brings up this clip does.
So you hate America. That's what I'm getting off of these two clips. You absolutely despise America, yet without America, you'd be nothing. You wouldn't have your film, you wouldn't be on the poster, you wouldn't be able to do a panel where you can spout this bullcrap without America, without people giving you it. And my favourite part about this is that he's getting what he deserves. Your film is a failure. Nobody has accepted you as Captain America. You're always going to be the sidekick. You're always going to be Falcon, that guy who just isn't as good. You're not going to be known as Captain America. You're going to be known as that one time when that black dude came in and tried to replace Steve Rogers, but failed horribly.
When on earth did he ever say that he hated America? Like, when was that even a part of the speech at all? Any two of the clips that you played, all right? For the fraction of the second that you played them, when did he ever say that he hated America? Honestly, they just gotta let people like him stop buying microphones, dude, because quite honestly, this is just a hilarious take on what somebody who doesn't know what's going on thought about Captain America. Anyways, like I was saying before, I do think that the movie is a bit overhated. All the criticisms that don't have to do with race are pretty justifiable. And as I was saying before, the movie kind of makes you feel like you were missing out on a bunch of stuff if you hadn't watched The Incredible Hulk from 2008 or the Winter Soldier and Falcon TV show. But even having watched both of those, this movie having a bunch of reshoots and retouch-ups, it makes the final product suffer. And honestly, I could say that it makes Anthony Mackie's acting suffer too, because, I mean, as you all know, he's just an actor following a script that's written by other people. I definitely do feel like it should have been better. It definitely could have been better. In my opinion, I'd give it like a 6 out of 10. Nothing to, write home about, because at the end of the day, we still have yet to really be convinced that this is Captain America now. And that's not because of his race or any dumbass reason like that. It's simply because the way that the movie is constructed, it doesn't really give off the fact that, hey, this is Captain America now. In all honesty, I do feel like it would have been better if this had been a Disney Plus show. However, some of the positives of the movie that I had was you got to see the development between Sam and Joaquin, Bucky's making waves and him trying to become a congressman. And while I do feel like this movie does suffer from having so many callbacks, it was nice to see, the Hulk from 2008 get reference, and more than a simple reference from what was done in Harlem. I remember hearing a line about the Hulk breaking Harlem earlier in the MCU, and I was like, oh damn, they're talking about the 2008 Hulk. But now to actually see that, this is more of a canon event in the MCU, it's like, wow, that's a movie from my childhood, and I haven't seen it in a while. It was a really good thing. I just wish that it just would have been a part of a better movie. The last point I want to touch on was how Sam ends up beating the Hulk. Now, I feel like the Thunderbolts movie is going to suffer from the same thing that this movie suffered from. And it's what a lot of people have been fearing, and it's that somebody close to the main villain is going to be talk no jutsuing their way out of an ass beating. And yes, I know that Sam doesn't have the super soldier serum in this film, and it's not like he would really stand a better chance if he had it anyways. It's a fucking Hulk. And while I do understand that they might have been trying to make some sort of callback to what Natasha was doing with Bruce, and the fact that she could always calm him down whenever she would do that like little lullaby and the hand motion or whatever, that would always turn him back into Bruce. Obviously, the president and Sam are in love, so it really doesn't make too much sense, and it just kind of comes off as like, oh wow, that's like how the movie ends. I thought that another person was going to be a part of this fight, someone who's like more on the power level of the Red Hulk, who was nerfed in this movie, by the way. For a little while, it seemed like it was going to happen, but at the same time, it's like, it's just kind of like a bit of a lackluster ending to the film. So yeah, as I said before, 6 out of 10. Definitely could be better, but it's 100% overhated. But yeah, guys, that's going to be it for me today. I hope you did enjoy. If you did, hit that like button. If you want more content similar to this, hit that subscribe button. I'll see you in the next one. Sub up, stay safe, and peace.